Hey everybody, happy Thursday from Buenos Aires. I am doing this quick blog about something I did the other night with my friend Gustavo. So there's a little bit of background to the story that I have to give before I actually get there. Before I was coming down here, when I went to Montreal in September, I was writing a paper for a conference there, and I was almost going to do it on this public policy concern in Argentina. Basically, about 10 years ago, actually now, they legalized prostitution in the city, making it so that women could sell on the street prostitution. But a couple of years later, they rescinded it. Then, after neighborhood associations and were against it, they essentially made a regulation saying that prostitutes couldn't sell within 200 meters of residence, or something to that extent. And when they did this, it essentially forced all the prostitutes away from the houses, because this city is jam-packed. It's like saying in New York City, you can't sell within 200 meters of a house, which basically means you might be able to sell in the middle of Central Park. In Argentina, they have this parks area, sometimes commonly known as the parks in Palermo, and that is where all the prostitutes have gone today. What are the prostitutes like in Buenos Aires? For the most part, most of them are travesti. And what does travesti mean? Lots of definitions, lots of background to this story. Travesti is kind of a derivation of transgender, transsexual, and what it means to be transgendered in the very gross explanation I can give for the 20-second explanation. It's essentially a man who transforms his body to look like a woman's body, to become appealing to a man, so that a man will have sex with him. Why am I saying him? Why am I using the male pronoun here? Because for the most part, travestis don't actually take on a feminine gender identity. They don't actually consider themselves women. They undergo all the procedures in order to become more attractive to the other sex. And so for that, they actually don't cut off their penises. They don't do the last snip snip. And most of the prostitutes that you'll see selling on the street in Argentina are travesti. So why am I telling all that background? So Gustavo and I went out to dinner, and my friend Gustavo, the one I went to the wedding in Pilar, and he said, "Have you ever seen this?" And I'm like, "No, I haven't actually went there before." And he's like, "Oh my God, this is where I take all of my friends." And so we went there, and it was so crazy, because basically the park is this lake, and there's like a driveway going around the entire lake. And when we got there, in this otherwise deserted part of the city, I couldn't believe the park, because it was absolutely bumper to bumper with cars going around this circle, this loop around this lake. And they were all slowing down and looking, and what were they looking at? The entire circumference of the park was filled with travesti prostitutes, usually with maybe 10, sometimes 20 meters in between them. And Gustavo told me that was a slow night. And the entire park was just filled with the prostitutes, all standing in a line as people were driving by in their cars. Kind of, I don't know, it felt like almost a drive-through, almost an auction. I don't know, kind of crazy to see this. And all the cars were driving by, and all the prostitutes would be doing all their sweet little poses and adjusting their bodies, wearing next to nothing in many cases, and even in a few cases not wearing anything, being completely naked from the waist up. And in one case, there was even a prostitute who had absolutely nothing on. So got to see the big tits, the curvy hips that a woman has, and the penis in between the legs. It was quite entertaining. And at one point, when we actually finished the loop, we did notice this looked like the new prostitute at the end, because she wasn't really all that dressed up in prostitute gear. She actually just looked like she was just she wasn't wearing anything flashy. She was just wearing regular everyday clothes for the most part, and looked kind of lonely and sad. But anyway, absolutely crazy, and I thought I would share that experience of my time going to the park to pick up a travesti prostitute. We actually didn't pick up any. We thought ice cream sounded better at the end of the night. So anyway, that's my experience. Hope you enjoyed. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.